Welcome to our hockey skills video. My name's Daniel.
My name is John.
In this video, we show you how to progress through the skills of hockey with your learner.
And these skills include dribbling and shooting.
At the start of this video, we'll show you an explanation of these skills.
And then towards the end of the video, we'll show you how to progress through a 4-week program.
We'll start off our hockey skills video with examples and explanation of the hockey dribble. I'll demonstrate myself. Dribbling is a critical skill in the sport of hockey. It is how the ball is transported with a player during the game. Referring to Gentile's table, it would be classified as number 16. This is due to the regulatory conditions being in motion and variable, as well as the action requirements for dribbling, using both body transport and object manipulation. If the skill was to be classified in a one-dimensional scheme, it would be a gross skill, not a fine skill. This is due to the large muscle groups being involved. For example, the quadriceps groups used in running, the erector spinae group used in controlling the posture. It would be an open skill, not a closed skill, due to the game and dribbling occurring in an ever-changing environment, so it's constantly changing, not closed. And it would be a serial skill, due to there being a definitive start and finish to the dribble. However, many dribbling events will occur during a match. The components of the skill involve a player being bent over to control the ball. This means back hunched over, eyes on the ball, knees bent, with the stick being in contact with the ball, allowing for maximum control. The dribbling skill looks very different for elite players. The ball and body are always changing directions. This is so opposition players struggle to read kinematic cues, and opposition players can be beaten a lot easier. The hockey stick will flip over to control the ball when it's on the other side of the body. Also, eyes can be lifted from the ball, and focus can be directed to trying to find a pass or trying to find a pass to other players in the team, rather than focusing on just controlling the ball.
The next skill we'll be talking about is shooting, and Daniel will be demonstrating this.
Shooting is one of the most important skills in field hockey, as it is a way teams can score goals which is needed to win. When referring shooting to the two-dimensional system, Gentile taxonomy table, the regulatory conditions would be in motion and fixed, as shooting can take place while in motion or in stationary. The action requirements will be with both body transport and object manipulation through the hockey stick and ball. Therefore, this skill will fall in box 12 of the table. In a one-dimensional context, shooting is a gross skill since it uses large muscle groups. For example, the muscle regions of quadriceps, erector spinae, and deltoids. It is a discrete skill because shooting has a start then a finish. The start is having contact with the ball from the swing, and the finish is landing the ball in the goal. Shooting is also a closed skill, as it does not really depend on the environment. It's just you and the skill. Basic elements of the skill involve feet shoulder width apart, knees bent, with a simple backswing with a follow through towards the intended target. For elite players, shooting is done on the move with run-ups before hitting the ball. This is because in a game situation, there is often not enough time to completely stop and shoot, due to the opposition team pressure and defensive players. Elite players are comfortable to shoot from different angles and at different speeds.
Now on to how we will measure the dribbling performance level of your client. The easiest way to do it would to be set up a circuit like this, get the client to go in between these markers and dribble through a pair of cones at the end. The way we would record this data would be time, so your time, your participant, see how long they would get through the course. Every time they knock or bump these over, that would be a 5-second penalty. Again, you'd be able to gauge how well they're doing on their time and also how they look doing it. To record your client's progress and performance level, have them shoot from the top of the semicircle in towards the goal. Every time they get it in the goal is 1 point. Every time they get it in the corners is 2 points. Every time they miss is 0 points. Going off how many points they score, you can gauge how well your client is doing and progressing through your program.
Fitson posits 3 stages of motor learning, states that all learners begin in a cognitive stage of learning. If progression occurs as expected, the learner will be able to reach associative stage of learning. However, autonomous stage wouldn't be reached, as enough practice wouldn't have occurred. Progression would occur as expected due to negative transfer throughout sessions, meaning a difference from cognition from a previously mastered skill. This isn't present for our learner, but an example would be soccer, as shooting occurs when open hips and the use of feet, whereas hockey shooting is closed hips through the manipulation of a stick. For positive shooting transfer, a golf swing has a fundamental movement pattern, which is very similar to the field hockey swing.
An example of positive transfer for dribbling would include skills such as ice hockey dribbling, due to the fundamental movement pattern and perceptual elements of the skill being similar. An example of negative transfer for dribbling would be netball passing, due to not being able to take multiple steps with the ball, which is crucial for effective dribbling in hockey. First off with John, a demonstration of the skill is used. Neurons that are active when learners perform the action are shown to be triggered when watching someone else perform the movement, meaning a greater ability to perform the skill is acquired with a demonstration. Another technique that could be used is verbal cues. This technique involves shouting short verbal phrases at the learner to remind them to concentrate on specific parts of the skill. Just like in shooting, verbal cues can also be used in dribbling. For this example, it will be an internal focus on the cues, which means focusing on the learner's body, not focusing on the environment around them. A common mistake with dribbling is the bottom wrist begins too tight. When you turn over the stick, you want it to be nice and loose like this. However, beginner learners always grab the stick hard and it makes it a lot harder for themselves. So an appropriate verbal cue could be loose wrist for an internal focus. Loose wrist, better. Part practice was used for both shooting and dribbling, as segmentation was used to break apart the skill. First 2 weeks of training, segmentation and repetitive part practice was used heavily. First week was shooting 3 times a week and second week was dribbling 3 times a week. All sessions were repetitive part practice, getting the fundamental of the skills practiced. An example of these sessions for dribbling is practicing without the ball and standing still, freezing degrees of freedom of the learner. In week 3 and 4 of the program, contextual interference was introduced by having dribbling and shooting sessions consecutively. Doing this introduces long-term mental benefits as the learner's cognitive function must change between skills. Progress the shooting assessment skill used in the first week. The learner will start by dribbling into a shooting drill. This transfers highly into a game situation as well as performing both shooting and dribbling in one skill. This is a perfect drill to try and progress to in the 4th week of the program. Without motivation, no practice and no learning occur. To avoid this, drills were simplified to give learner early success. Throughout the program, drills were simple for the learner, so success and enjoyment occurs throughout. Another strategy used was to have the learner complete the skill assessment drills at the end of each week, clearly showing the progression made, further motivating the client for the next week of training. Variety through the session was used to try to make each session as enjoyable as possible for the learner, especially in the last week when training both skills simultaneously. Goals were set at the beginning of the program to achieve better results on the skill assessment drills to show progress. This is a performance goal. A performance goal focuses more on improvement of performance, triggering self-involvement.
Now that concludes the end of the program and the video, and we hope that you enjoyed it.
Now it's your turn to get out there and coach these people through these hockey skills.